Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Mikasa and Sukasa. I am your host, Niko House. And I don't know if y'all have gotten the news already, but I'm pretty sure that Israel either started World War III just now, and this is not an exaggeration, I'm going to explain why. It's either they started World War III or they are making their grandest attempt to start World War III. This is not a joke. This is not hyperbole. This is the real deal, and you need to be paying attention. Understand, first of all, that the more that information comes out, keep your wits about you. Remember the propaganda that they've been pushing about Russiagate. Remember the initial propaganda that they were pushing about Syria and Assad attacking his own people with chemical weapons, and now all of a sudden they have no evidence whatsoever of that ever happening. Remember what they told you about Iran. Remember what they told you, Hillary Clinton pretended to hate Russia, and now she's the reason that Russia has 20% of our uraniums. Verified. Fact. Millions funneled to her organization. Remember every single lie they have piled up. Remember the lies that Israel tells. Israel plays the victim in the region where they're one of what? 3 countries that have a nuclear weapon. And India isn't really a threat to them. Pakistan doesn't bother them either. At least not lately. Once again, this is the Israeli government. The people of Israel are not the Israeli government, just like the people of the United States do not necessarily represent the United States government. So let's be clear about that. Israel just bombed Syria. And in a vacuum, because Israel does bomb Syria, unfortunately, more often than they should. In a vacuum, it may not seem that big of a deal, right? This is the biggest bombing since 1982. On top of that, this bombing comes right after Mr. Mattis, Mad Dog Mattis, announced that there was no evidence whatsoever that chemical weapons were used by the Syrian government on his own people. None whatsoever. However, there's a caveat to that. What he did say is that they're going to put all their efforts into finding evidence. Same way we did with weapons of mass destruction, of course. Oh, but it gets better. This is a week or so after Rex Tillerson announced that we will indefinitely be staying in Syria. Why? He gave the exact reason. This is not like he didn't even try to hide it. He pretended like it wasn't, he started out hiding it, then he just totally threw it. He's like, yeah, we want to essentially start and initiate a regime change so we can get Assad out. Even though we literally, what did I just say? Mattis, Secretary of Defense, said that there's no evidence whatsoever of anything that you're saying. Oh, but it's not where it stops. Tillerson himself even said that we want to weaken Iran. We want to impose sanctions on Iran. If you do not impose sanctions on Iran, then you are seen as the enemy, and we will impose sanctions on you. And now, mind you, it leaked that Trump is talking invasion into North Korea as soon as the Olympics are over. And we're trying to have this military parade, which is a little over, okay, that's a little over the top, isn't it? I mean, I know y'all trying to fabricate a distraction, but this is a little bit too much. Maybe because it isn't too much. Maybe the distraction is for something much bigger than what we thought. They said that there was a drone flying, an Iranian drone, which is very specific, whatever, intelligence. Israel does have great intelligence. Iranian drone flew up, didn't destroy anything, people. No mention of that. It flew over Israel. Israel thought the correct response was to go bomb the shit out of Syria. Because Iran and Syria work together. Because clearly, look at what happens if they don't. So they're escalating and escalating and escalating. And then Israel has the nerve to talk about it needs to be able to defend itself. And then the United States comes out and says that Israel has the right to defend itself. Nothing got destroyed in Israel. We haven't even seen the drone. We managed to see the plane, one of the planes that Israel used. We still haven't seen the quote unquote drone. Mind you, Israel has some of the most advanced surveillance and intel and missile tracking systems in the world. And we can't even see a picture of the drone unless you all found one. The plane that was shot down, pictures everywhere, instantly. This has happened 3 hours ago, people. 3 to 4 hours ago. Israel, the United States, they're trying to initiate World War III. And I mean, we can talk about every reason that they want to. I think it's a combination of three things. I 100% believe what people assert about the World Bank situation, how North Korea does not have one, how Syria does not have one, and I believe Iran does not have one either. If they did get one, I think it's very, very recent, which means it's very difficult for us to have some type of control over your economy, like every other country, every other industrialized nation in the world. It's very difficult for us to have any type of control over your economy, and you be our enemy, and you have a valuable resource, and you're not on our side. 2, our currency is based off of the petrodollar. Period. I don't care what you think. Oh, it's all sovereign. No. It's based off the petrodollar. So yeah, it's sovereign as long as we have all the control of all the oil resources in the world, which we kind of do to a degree, and we're working on more. I mean, how many times do I have to bring up Wesley Clark's video? Very clearly did he say, straight from the Pentagon, we're going to invade Iraq. I don't know why. Is it, okay, so what? We're not invading Iraq anymore? Oh, no, it's worse. We're invading 7 countries. Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Lebanon, Libya, Syria, and Somalia. If you can't see where this is going, I need you to wake up and stop being naive, people. Because the third thing is, they want a reset button. They want a reset button. The world is more woke than it has been in decades. We've seen their smoke screens that they use, the traditional smoke screens, right? So you have the Great Wars, propaganda, certain politicians posing to be your friend, the economic wars, the war of racism, men versus women, I mean, country versus country, ethnicity versus ethnicity. They're running out of options. The fear-mongering isn't working the way it's used to. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's galvanizing people because we see past it, and they know that. So what would you do in a situation where you're the oligarchs losing control? You're going to press the red button. Hopefully, not literally, but that is what's coming next. As in, they are going to send us to war, people. Remember something that happened right before the election that a lot of you forgot? You all remember the draft. whenever Hillary Clinton was pushing to have women be able to enter into the draft, and we were like, why are we even discussing the draft? We're not going to like a major war. And not that I don't want women in the draft. I don't think that anybody should be in the damn draft. And the fact that we were even discussing the draft was what was bothering me. I also told you all, because I'm in the military, and I'm prior service, and I still have recruiter friends and things like that, they started opening up a lot of MOSs and jobs to come back to if you've had some type of military experience. Of course, all of them were combat arms jobs. I said time and time and time again that this is coming. I've said it. The proof is in the pudding. Once again, yes, Syria absolutely has been bombed by Israel before, but the circumstances are much, much different. And there's also a reason why normally when Syria does get bombed, you have to hear about that from outside sources. You have to hear about that from like BBC, Al Jazeera, and other sources like that. But this was instantaneously. We've been seeing how much propaganda about Syria, how much news all of a sudden news is coming out about Syria. Whenever Rex Tillerson announced that we were going to be in there indefinitely, and he announced the reasons why, did not make one news channel. Whenever they decided we were going to go, whenever Mattis decided that we're going to go search for evidence, all over. Whenever Israel attacks Syria any other time, not on one American news channel as a front page or a headline. But after build up, after build up, after build up, it's all over. After one bombing. It's a large bombing, but why this one? They're ramping you up. They're letting us know this is happening. Unless, as a collective conscious, we stand up together and choose, no, absolutely not. We're not letting you send innocent men and women to go die for your fucking money anymore. We're not doing it. We are not doing it anymore. And when I tell you that in this particular case, people, or any fight really, but in this case, you are not going to win a fight against this regime that is the deep state, that is the establishment, that is the warmongers and the warhawks, unless you are willing to die for your fight. We are going to have to march. They're going to punish us for it. But we got to do something. We got to take a stand. We have to, or else people will die without a choice. So we might as well use our choice and our ability to fight the actual enemy, or else we'll end up fighting civilians and innocent people everywhere will be subjected to the imperialism that is the Western world and the United States of America. Always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance. Peace.